now, 35, 40. Unit that was installed by the previous owner. I've gone through and chucked the matching dash speakers in. I have replacement door pods here. They have not been installed, they're custom made. They come with space for a 6-inch speaker. This is the sub-tank switch that's also matches up to here. The sub-tank from memory gives you a combined fuel range of about 170-180 litres, which is heaps. You have the engine watchdog here. Never really goes above sort of 85, but if it goes above 90, it will beep. That's just your sort of warning, just to, hey, engine's getting a bit hot, just back off. We have a switch panel here that was installed by the previous owner. I went through and redid the wiring. When I say me, I mean professionally. That was done by a mechanic, sorry, auto electrician. Documentation all to prove that. This is the jump starter. So feeding off of the deep cycle battery, the starter battery will jump start your car in case you have, run it dead overnight at the campsite. These are your work lights. There's one on a pole hanging off of the spare tire on the back. That spare tire is just an all-terrain tire, while the rest are mud terrain. The roof lights, there's 2 King's Life on the back, just for reversing, camping, that sort of thing there. We have 2 USB ports just here, along with a battery voltage reader. We have the ARB compressor switch, we have spotlights and LED LED light bar. Both of these were installed by the previous owner, but again, I've gone through and redone the wiring. We have a Red Arc Pro as well, previous owner. Uniden headset, previous owner, works fantastically, 80 channel. But we have a new GME aerial up front. We have just a King's odometer, speedometer on the front here, just because while this works, it is about 3 to 5 Ks off, given that we have larger size tires on the vehicle. All the gauges in here work. Oil, temperature, battery, so that's your main battery, and of course fuel, which is currently sitting on empty given the fuel prices. Now we have our 2 gauges up here. These were installed by the previous owner, but I had them checked over by my mechanics to make sure they were all functioning. And what our test deduced is that this is operating about 5 psi lower than what it should be. That's fine. It just means that when you're sitting on about 0, say if you've just started accelerating, it won't sort of reach 5 until you're sitting at about 10. So again, 5 out, just like the speedometer, even though those aren't related. Now we have the EGT gauge here. Now this red marker here is just so that if anyone who's driving the car who is not familiar with it, they can tell how hot it's getting and when, to ease off that accelerator, especially if you're under load on a hill, say if you're towing. Not that I do much at all, we only have a tip trailer at home. Mainly if you've got a car full of camping kit and you're taking off up a huge hill, if you're sitting in the wrong gear, you'll find that you sort of get above to 400, 450, in which case you just slow off, ease off that accelerator, and that drops right back down. The tape here does look a bit, odd, I do admit. Basically, I'm just a touch lazy and I haven't gone through to glue them in. As you can see, these are slightly smaller than the pillar pod that's sitting here. This was done by me, just got it online. The previous one that was sitting here with these gauges was not for an 80 series. I think it was for a Nissan Patrol. So it was a big square gangly looking thing on the side here. Got rid of that, but the cost is these do not fit, and I just haven't had the time or the energy to go through and replace these when they're working just fine. We have Bluetooth just speaker hooked up to the head unit. What else? We have a safety day reversing rear camera, dash cam up here, sub fuel tank, odometer. Like most 80 series, this doesn't really work. I've yet to see one that does, but this does though. This is just the LED lights. This one here works, but this one here just gives you a bit more light. These ones in here have been replaced. What else? We have the rear locker, front locker, and with the compressor as well. Just to keep in mind, this was only done in late 2020, started 2021, so pretty recently, along with the rear def rebuild. The pinion seal was broken, and I figured, well, why not just go through and redo everything at once, because this was meant to be the 10-year tourer, which didn't work out because we've gone a different direction through a leasing agreement with my company for work. What else? I think it's about it for the cab. This is the worst fade on the vehicle. Since coming up to Far North Queensland last year, a year and a half ago now, the fade has increased given the fact that it's very, very hot up here. Once you get that bonnet fixed up though, just with the new clear coat and get that paint touched up, it'll be absolutely fine, no issues. I'll quickly just come through and show you the middle section here. So this was picked up about a year ago. It's been fantastic. Gas struts work. Lots and lots of space. We keep our recovery kit in there and like our sort of dirty camping gear, while in the back we keep our food and our goodies and all that sort of thing. Now down here you have a 70-litre water tank. Now that's hidden out under the way, which is fantastic because we don't really want to be seeing a massive water tank. Now it did have a water pump. We've taken that out because we're keeping that on the new vehicle, but it's pretty easy to slap your own filter and water pump in there. There's a better idea of what that tank looks like down below. King seat covers, these are in fantastic nick underneath. It comes with the middle seats and the rear seats as well. They're home in the garage. Cargo barrier isn't going anywhere. This is a little bit wobbly. That's just because we have these anchor points up top and they're not, you know, firm in place. Rear windows, had the tint done, darkest legal tint that we can get. So it's all legal, no stress at all. The car does have a 3-inch lift and 33-inch tyres, which I think from memory, might need to double check this, but I think it places it about an inch out of legality. Because of that, the car will not pass a roadworthy. That said, I am more than happy for somebody to get a mechanic to come over and look at this vehicle from head to toe. I am that confident in it. On top of that, I'll be making sure if it does stay with me for another couple of weeks, that it goes in for a service and that sort of stuff as well. I'll get a safety report done if the time permits. Now we have this wood panel back here. The wood panel was chucked in by me just as a little temporary table. The drawers all work, just Titan drawers, but they're in pretty good nick. They've done their job. Not even as bent or as mangled as the other ones you see in other vehicles. Down here we have our twin ARB air compressor. That was just chucked in there along with the front and rear lockers back in late 2020, 2021. Don't know if I've mentioned it, but we had a leaking pinion seal and just figured, well, might as well go through and do it all at the same time. Peace of mind and all. Dun & Watson, just a normal fridge slide. You have two 12 volts and an Anderson plug. These holes here, they look a bit gainly, but that's just so that the wires from the fridge can be tucked away. Down in here, there is a little bit of stuff that we forgot about during our big unpacking, but there is a fuse box here for all the rear electrics, you know, your fridge, lights, all that sort of stuff, which again is just fantastic for problem solving. Only ever had one fuse blow on this car, and it wasn't even down here. The roof is a little bit dirty, but it'll come up quite clean. About that much shake to it. Once it's loaded, there's no shake at all. We do have another light as well. That's a orange cant light for bugs. Have these custom made mounts here. Haven't put anything on them yet. I intended to put the GME aerial there, but it was just too big to fit. But eventually I'll replace these lights and chuck them down here. This light works, but the mount got nicked off while we're loading a kayak on. These are the Ocam mirrors, Safari snorkel, turbo. Alrighty, quick little rev test. Turn the aircon down so you can hear me. Alrighty. Alright, doing the blow-by test real quick. No dramas. Otherwise, that's the mod plate there. Now the turbo was stuffed on in 2011. Denko turbo. Now it's tuned to about 10 PSI. If you're really pushing it, you might see it sort of go up to about 15. No higher than that. Absolutely no higher than that. We have Superior Engineering diff breathers, HPD top mount intercooler with a thermal fan as well. We have catch can, dual battery system hooked up. So the previous owner had it done up. I just went through and redid the wiring professionally for peace of mind, but the batteries are brand new. We have a couple different fuse boxes here. because of the accessories that have been put on the vehicle. This is the old hot water pump. You can basically stick that into a lake and just pump water out into your shower and stuff, but currently not hooked up, not something that I've had to use. New radiator put in. That was done at the end of last year, not for any reason. We're doing a big trip down to the Gold Coast over some corrugations through like the Burdekin River type range, and for peace of mind with the heat, we decided to chuck that in there. The car has been kept up to date with all of its servicing. It is currently due for a service. It's sort of getting to about 4,000 out of 5,000 Ks. Now, the reason why it's due for a service is, even though it was serviced only back in November, December, we have put on about 3,000, 3,500 Ks in that time due to the trip down to the Gold Coast. The car has no issues. There is a rear main leak that we're not chasing because it's not even dripping. So there's no point spending a couple $100 to go fix that. What else? The caster bushes for the steering arms, they're due to be replaced. So the steering does get a little bit shaky, about 80, 90 Ks an hour. Still very tolerable. Again, we did a trip down to the Gold Coast and back without any issues, but you will feel it. It does have a little bit of play, especially sort of over 90 Ks. You can steer it, no issues, but again, you do notice a little bit of play. In the event that we hold on to the car for another month or so, we'll be getting those fixed up because this is my daily driver. The car is a little bit dirty underneath, given the fact that we're on a gravel road, but again, pretty damn clean for its age. You won't find any rust down there. You might find a little bit of surface rust on some components, but nothing on the vehicle of concern, which I think is fantastic, again, given its age. The original owner went through and did a chassis protective coating. Given that it's been 10, 15 years since that occurred, and I've got the documentation for that as well, it's done professionally, it's now beginning just to peel off a bit with its age. Where it has peeled off, you can see that the frame does not have any rust whatsoever. It is in very good condition. The only rust you're going to find in the vehicle is on this roof rack here. That steel, you can see there that it is getting a bit old, but again, still roof rack.